so much. So I'm starting out with 2 pounds of lean ground beef into a big skillet, and I'm going to get that browning. This is something I think the kids will really enjoy too, with the, crunchy Fritos on top. What's not to love? Just going to use my handy dandy chop and stir to get that going. And you just want to brown the beef till it's crumbly and no longer pink. I'm going to add 1 onion that's finely diced, and that's the way, if I dice it up real fine, I can get some great onion flavor in there and the kids won't even know it's in there. Yep, I've got picky eaters at home too. All right, we'll just kind of let it hang out there a little bit. It is really lean. Ann was saying that beef is so lean, you might want to add a little olive oil, so I will do that. Nothing better than browning, the smell of browning ground beef and onion. Wow, yummy. Now, one of the things that I like about casseroles in general is that they're really easy to throw together. And this one is especially easy. Not a lot going on. We're basically browning the ground beef, and we're going to throw a few cans of different things in there and tie it all together with some cheese and some crunchies, and it's a winner. It really is. So I've got a few cloves of garlic, and I'm using fresh garlic. If you didn't have that around, I usually have a jar of the garlic in my refrigerator. That would work fine, or even garlic powder in a pinch. Sometimes that can get a little salty, but I didn't grow up with fresh garlic in recipes, and my mom always just used garlic salt or garlic powder, so you don't have to go run out and buy fresh garlic if you don't have any on hand. I'm just going to give it a rough chop. You know me, I don't use any fancy tools usually, except for my chop and stir, and that's not real fancy. I actually used it to make mashed potatoes last night, and it really worked well. So I'm just kind of giving that a rough chop, and that's going to go in just a little bit. My beef gets a little bit more browned. Hey, later I'm really excited to take you over to Packer wife Laura Hawk's house. She is such a sweetie. And she's a really good cook. They just had a new baby, and she's cooking up a storm, and she's going to share one of her favorite recipes, and I guess her hubby likes it too. It's chicken marsala, which I happen to love, and it's something I order out at restaurants, but it's really nice to be able to make it at home. Okay, so I'm going to open up some cans. I've got 1 can of diced green chilies, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup mix, and I know a lot of my casseroles have a cream of something soup in them, and I got an email from a guy who said, do any of your recipes not have cream of something soup in them? And yes, of course. Some of them don't have cream of something soup in them. Desserts, salads, soups, things like that. But I love my cream soups, They add a lot of flavor, and they make casseroles really creamy and delicious. And, they come in low sodium now and fat-free and things like that. Or you can certainly make your own. But, they really bind casseroles together, and they work. So that's why I happen to love them. Now, I've got 1 can of enchilada sauce. And you just find this in the Mexican food aisle. I'm using the red enchilada sauce for this. Sometimes some of the recipes I prefer the green enchilada sauce, but this one, the red, I think works better. Okay, let's get back to that ground beef. We're almost there. I'm going to season this with some salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add my fresh garlic in here, just to give it some great flavor. All right. Ann, how are you today?
Wonderful.
We're all excited about this casserole because I think of the Fritos on top.
Fritos.
Yeah, she says Fritos very elegantly. Fritos, she says. I said, it's Fritos is what I love Fritos on top of chili. Yeah, it's with a, huh? She's saying it Fritos. It's Fritos, lady. We just love to give each other a hard time. Okay, so this looks perfect. So in goes I'm looking for my thin little guy. This will do. Cream of mushroom soup. And don't worry, this is not going to taste mushroomy. There's so much other stuff going on that it's really going to have some great flavor. If you don't do cream of mushroom soup at all, you could certainly substitute cream of chicken soup or cream of celery soup. So just want to get it all out of the can there. Okay, thanks, Ann. In go my green chilies, juice and all. And then this is optional, but I was looking for a way to kind of bulk this up a little bit. And my kids aren't real big fans of beans, so I thought some corn would be nice in here. And I usually have a bag of frozen corn in my freezer. So I just got about 1.5 cups of frozen corn. I'm using the white corn, but any corn will be fine. You could completely leave that out, or you could do beans, or corn and beans. Up to you. Okay, so this looks great. We're done here. Now I've got a great big casserole dish, 9 by 13, and I want to spray it with cooking spray. Got to do that, or else you're going to be doing the dishes all night long. And in goes, this is the first layer to my casseroles, the beef mixture with the green chilies, the cream of mushroom soup, and that corn. Alrighty. Okay. I'm just going to spread that evenly on the bottom of my casserole dish. Now, next, I'm going to do that can of enchilada sauce. And this is just checking the ounces on that. 20-ounce can, so it's one of the bigger cans of red enchilada sauce. And I'm making like layers. I don't really want to mix it in. I just want to have it on top. Okay. Now, every one of my casseroles that I can think of, I was trying to think of a casserole. There aren't many, but there may be a few that don't have cheese. But we're going to do some shredded Mexican blend cheese. Shredded cheddar would be fine too, Monterey Jack. This just makes it convenient. You just open the bag and it's just easy. So 2 to 3 cups. You know me, I like to pile on the cheese. This hasn't even baked yet, and I'm already drooling. The one in the oven smells so good. And this is just something a little different. Okay, lots of cheese. 2, 3, maybe 4 cups of cheddar cheese. There we go. And now here comes the really fun part. I love, and I'm always thinking of some sort of fun crunchy to put on my casseroles. I will use everything from, I do a macaroni and cheese recipe that's in my cookbook that has crushed pretzels on top because there's a little bit of beer in that recipe. I love to use crushed potato chips on some of my casserole recipes. I do a warm chicken salad recipe that has crushed potato chips on top that's just delicious. I do potato chips on top of my tuna casserole. Crushed tortilla chips are really nice on Mexican casseroles. Crushed crackers, but in my book you got to have some sort of a nice fun crunchy on top. It's the best part of a casserole. So in this case, Fritos. And I like to, go a little overboard on my toppings. So 3 or 4 cups, just measuring, just open the bag. And it's a great way to use those leftovers that you have at the bottom of the bags, those crushed chips. Just put them in a Ziploc, and when you're making casseroles, think about taking them out. So this goes on top like this. This goes, you don't want to cover this up, because if you were to cover this up, those Fritos would get sog central, and that is not a good thing. We want them to be nice and crispy. So this is a pretty quick bake, basically 350, and we're doing it for about 30 minutes. You want the whole casserole to be warmed through, and you want the cheese to be all melty and those Fritos to get a little crisp. Now, I do have to tell you, if you're going to do this as a make-ahead, you want to get it to the point where you've got the cheese on top. Do not put the Fritos on top until right before you bake it, because if you get those Fritos into the refrigerator, they're going to get soggy on you. So remember that. Also, always keep in mind, whenever you're making a casserole, if you are making it ahead and you're pulling it out of the refrigerator, it's going to take longer to bake. So keep that in mind. If you were going to make this ahead, I think I would bake it, because if it's ice cold out of the refrigerator, bake it maybe then covered with foil for a little bit of the time without the Fritos on top, and then uncover it and put the Fritos on top. You just want to make sure those Fritos are nice and crisp. And it's going to take longer to bake if it comes cold out of the refrigerator. Okay, it's time. I always feel like this is like Christmas morning when you're talking about a casserole and making it, and then you pull it out of the oven, and here it is. Oh yeah. How good does that look? The cheese is all melty, that enchilada sauce is bubbly, and the Fritos get nice and crisp. I just want to nibble on one of those. And then, you want to serve this with your favorite taco fixing. So, put out a little serving bar and serve it with what you like. Black olives, sour cream, scallions, jalapeno peppers. Everybody can kind of fix theirs up how they like it. Shredded lettuce, diced tomatoes. So there you go. It's my Frito casserole. This one's a winner. You can get the recipe on our website. You can also pick it up at any area Festival Foods.